What's up guys, it's Britton. I'm back with another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be going over my top 3 swing trading indicators. This is my bread and butter. I would consider myself more of a swing trader than a day trader. In 2024, one of my goals were to get more into the scalping and day trading side, as long with my swing trading side. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. I'm going to be posting content all 2024, content that's going to help you, content that's going to help beginners, content that's going to help intermediate traders, whatever it might be. I'm going to be posting content all 2024. Something I want to talk about before we get into my top 3 swing trading indicators is that most people don't talk about this, so I wanted to note this before we get into the video. When it comes to swing trading, the market moves in cycles. A lot of these breakouts tend to happen at the same exact time. So like you'll see a lot of small caps break out all at the same time, and you'll see a lot of large caps break out all at the same time. It's because the market moves in cycles. Swing trading is not always going to be good. Like right now, I'm in 2 swings personally, but I'm not full size in either one of those swings because swing trading is not on fire right now. So if you're planning on getting into a swing trade on a bigger stock, so like a large cap stock, let's say AMD, right? Usually when AMD breaks out, NVIDIA is most likely going to break out as well. It's because they're in the same sector, the semiconductor sector. When one stock is setting up to break out, the other stock usually follows. So like, now let's go into retail. If Walmart looks like it's going to break out, then usually Target will look good for upside as well, or downside, whatever it might be. But sectors break out with each other most of the time. Now, I wouldn't say 100% of the time, but like 70% of the time, if you see a stock in that sector looking like it's going to have a huge upside or downside move, usually that sector tends to follow. It could lag, it could wait a little bit longer, but I just wanted to point this out before we get into the video. Know that the market moves in cycles and swing trading isn't always going to be perfect. Let's get into the video so you can find swing trading ideas for yourself. Let's get into the charts. So typically when you're swing trading, you want to be looking at the daily time frames, the weekly time frames, and even the monthly time frames. Now I tend to go into the hourly time frames when I'm trying to get like an entry, but when I start a position or exit a position, I don't go off the hourly time frame, because when you enter a swing trade and you're saying, all right, I'm gonna be in this thing for, let's say, a few weeks, then why would you exit your position off of a 15-minute time frame or an hourly time frame? That could just be a candle grabbing liquidity. If you really want to swing trade, you have to be able to sit patiently, stick to your plan, and watch the daily and weekly time frames, because those time frames are the most reliable time frames. For an example, before we get into my top 3 trading indicators, I want to just teach y'all something just real quick, so bear with me. So as you can see on this weekly time frame, we're looking at Disney here. So on this weekly time frame, you can see this huge candle wick right here, right? I bet you a lot of buyers were buying this breakout because they thought it was going to break out. Little do they know, this candle came all the way back under and stayed under that trend line on the daily and weekly time frame, as you can see right here. But I bet you if you were trying to enter or exit on the hourly, you would have got faked out. So let's go to the hourly time frame right here. As you can see, most traders would be entering a position right here on this breakout, maybe even on the retest, because I preach enter on retest for like confirmation. So maybe even on a retest they entered right here, but little do they know, on the daily time frame, that sucker came all the way back under and the trend started to go down again. And same with the weekly. So when you're really entering these swing trades, you want to base it off of daily and weekly time frames. Now what this does, it makes you be a lot more patient. And if you have FOMO, then it's really going to suck, because I bet you a lot of people FOMO to get into calls or shares on that breakout on the hourly and 15-minute and stuff. But little do they know, they were just liquidity and the market structure was changing. All right, so let's get into the indicators. The first indicator I'm gonna be talking about is the volume shelf. So I've noticed a lot of traders actually don't use the volume shelf or volume profile. I don't know why, but I love using this as an indicator where you can see a support or resistance. The volume profile is an indicator that displays volume coming in at a specific level. So this volume indicator can be a support or a resistance. If you see a lot of volume coming in at a resistance, then that most likely means they're selling off up there. If you see the volume profile showing that there's a lot of volume coming in near a support, that's most likely going to be a pretty big support. Now let's get into it. I'm going to turn it on and you can see for yourself. How you get this indicator on TradingView, you just go to indicators up here, you click on it and it'll pop up this little search thing and you type in VRVP. Yeah. It's the visible range volume profile, and it'll pop up like this over here to your side. I kind of just customize mine a different color that I like, but anyways, that's how you get it. So we're using Disney as an example right here. So this is actually kind of, I guess, foreshadowing, I guess, I don't know, but I'm basically predicting that Disney holds this volume shelf. As you can see, this shelf right here is saying that there's a lot of volume coming in at this price. As you can see previously, there's a lot of volume coming in over here as a support. They grab liquidity right here, but every time it's hit around this volume shelf, there has been a bounce, right? Right now, we broke out this weekly trend line, as you can see, and we have a bull flag on this volume shelf. So I'm expecting this to launch. Now, let's go to a different chart where we can just see what happened and not a prediction. Oh, something else to note is if it breaks under 88, then this trade idea is invalidated. So right now I'm looking at the Microsoft weekly time frame. As you see, both where the huge volume shelves are, as you can see, so I have it zoomed out on the weekly time frame. So this is like a 2-year move right here. Every time you see a large volume shelf, there has been some type of consolidation. There's been a rejection, or there's been a launch off the volume shelf, the support. So at first, Microsoft rejected this volume shelf a few times. You can see there's a rising wedge. It fell, came back up to the volume shelf, rejected again, and then finally consolidated and had this huge move to the upside. What you can see here is just a simple trend line. I mean, it just had a downtrend right here, then broke the downtrend and came back up. Went to the next volume shelf. So how this works is there's a thing called a volume gap. A lot of stocks like to fill these volume gaps on the volume shelf just because, I mean, there's nothing here. There's no selling or buying. So as you can see, Microsoft broke this resistance, this volume shelf resistance, and these volume gaps work like a magnet just about. So if there's not a lot of volume going on in this gap, it'll most likely run up to the next volume shelf. So that's exactly what it did here. And then it consolidated at this next volume shelf. And then as you can see, just this last week, we had a huge move to the upside. So how I like to play these is if it's above a pretty big volume shelf, I would consider myself bullish. If it's underneath the volume shelf, I would consider myself bearish. So in this situation down here, I would have been bearish until we closed above this volume shelf. So like, as you can see, it's a downtrend, huge ugly candle right here, but we did have the breakout. But I'm just saying, since we were rejecting this volume shelf for quite some time, I would have been bearish right there. Now this works on all time frames, guys. Like if you're scalping and day trading, there's volume shelves on there as well. Now they're not as reliable as the daily and weekly time frames in my opinion, but it's definitely there, and I will use those sometimes on the day, for day trading as well. I hope you got a good rundown on how I personally like to use the volume shelves. Let's go to number 2, my top trading indicator for swing trading, and that is volume itself. I know these are very simple, but let me explain. These two together, these two paired together, can do a lot of work for you. So you go to indicators, you type in volume, and it's this one right here. It's just plain and simple volume. So I already have mine turned on, so let me go over here, click it. This is what it looks like. So for this demonstration, we're going to be using Chewy. I'm bullish on Chewy. I'm just gonna give y'all a rundown on Chewy. And why I personally like it for upside and for a long-term swing trade. As you can see on the monthly, we've had a huge volume candle spike, the biggest volume candle we've ever had on Chewy since it's been publicly traded. And then on the weekly, I mean, it's the same thing. Weekly, you can see all of them stacking up against each other. But why I like this so much is, let's see if they'll pop up. It's because we have a huge volume shelf right here, guys. I like this because 2 things. I'm starting to pair them together. We got the volume shelf right here. $17 to $20 range, I think it's a good buy in my personal opinion. All right, so the volume indicator shows you when there's a lot of volume coming in and when there's a lot of volume selling off. And based on the candlestick or candles at the very bottom, if it's like a large candle like these two, or even when there's a huge pretty sell off right here, it'll just tell you which way, if buyers are stepping in or if sellers are in control, whoever's in control. And that's what you need to really see when it comes to swing trading or day trading. All right, so for an example, as you can see, Chewy had a huge volume candle right here, right? Huge volume candle. And if you go look up here, the move started to trend upwards after that volume candle. Now we have like just about 3 of those candles right here, right? And it looks like buyers are in control. This next week will be crucial for the upside, and so we can see this candle. But on these 2 red weeks, low volume. Sellers are not in control, in my opinion. Low volume. We have huge buying pressure right here and then low selling pressure. So Even though we had this large spike, I mean, you gotta think there's 3 of those and bigger than that one right there. So buyers are in control at this volume shelf, in my opinion. So just basically how you use volume, just see who's in control, right? Obviously over here, the buyers are in control. There's not a lot more examples, but maybe when it was first publicly traded, sellers were definitely in control. You can see it trend down, but it's just how you can kind of look at things. I mean, just see who's in control with the volume indicator. Yeah, just basically you're looking at who's in control, whether it be buyers or sellers. The third swing trading indicator that I personally love using is following the flow. If you've never heard of the term following the flow or smart money or flow, that's just basically big institutions or someone with a lot of money putting money into certain option contracts. The way these flow application works is you can filter and edit exactly what you're trying to look for. So let's pull it up real quick. So I personally use Flowtopia.co. I own this. It's an application that shows you like what calls are being bought, what puts are being bought. As you can see, this guy on Friday bought Tesla 119.24, 220 puts for $5.17 for the premium, 4,000 contracts. He put $2.1 million into it. Probably an institution or some just very rich guy. It's smart money. These guys know things before we know things, right? So as a retail trader, most of us trade like retailers, and I would consider all of us probably retail traders, right? But to get an advantage and maybe try to get on the side of the market makers and the institutions and all the smart money buyers, I feel like a flow application will help you with getting that edge to see what they're buying, right? So you can just filter this like calls. You can do only calls you can apply and it'll load and you can just see all the calls for the day. So not too long ago, I had an IWM trade, right? So I went to IWM to see if what they were buying. This was a while ago, but I went to calls. I was just trying to see what the smart money contracts and smart money buyers were buying, right? So I had my technical analysis viewpoint. I thought IWM was going to go up. So I wanted to see what they're buying so I can maybe follow along with their contracts, right? I did this, I posted on Twitter. This is like 3 weeks ago. I did that, followed them. And I think these went for like 500%, like no exaggeration, screenshot and everything was all on Twitter and in the Discord. But that's just one way you can use it. I love using the flow for everything. It's good because you can line up your technical analysis with like what other people are buying as well, right? Some runner indicators I like using is the MAs, so like the 9, the 21, the 50, and the 200. I like the fib retracement, and then also, I don't know why it's not on here, but I also like the RSI. All of these are very, very, I like using them I don't use them to buy a trade. I use them for influence on my trade, right? Like I don't use them like, oh, this is the RSI is down, so it must be going up. No, I don't use it like that. I just use it like just to see where it's at, right? To see if it's oversold or overbought, right? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and comment. Subscribe if you're new, because I'm gonna be posting amazing educational content all of 2024, and I want to hear you guys out, like what y'all want to hear, so I can post it. It gives me more ideas as well. If you want to see all my personal trade ideas and what I'm taking, make sure to go join discord.gg/Oasis Alerts. This is where all my entries and exits are posted. Also have a team of like 10 plus other traders that teach as well. 40,000 member community base. Y'all make sure to go join that. Y'all have a good one and peace out.